Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. Today, my other camera's not working. So if this looks weird to you, it's because I'm shooting this off my laptop. But we're adjusting. We're dynamic, as Uncle Cliff says, right? We're going to get through these times by being dynamic. Another bank failed this morning, or they took it over. I don't really know what's going on. I don't think any of us do. And then they announced PNC will probably be the next one to go. And there's a couple more that are really struggling. So we know these are just the dominoes that are falling on this journey that we're on as the US dollar gets a little recycle, a little redo. So we're back with my dear friend Amy Weir to do our Mighty Sirens book study, Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. This week we're doing chapter 5, Reconditioning the Body to a New Mind. And then next week we'll go back over chapter 6 and 7 together. So if you're jumping in, we kind of got off schedule and that's all on me. But Amy and I made a plan, so we'll get everybody caught up. So we'll be right back right after this. Give us a like, share the video. Hi, Amy. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here. Good to see you again.
I miss you already. Yes.
I know.
Come back.
It was such a great weekend.
It was so great having so much of the fam here and just feeling everybody's love and support around Mame. We were able to raise a little over $9,000 to help her and her family through this time. And I just had a call. Yeah, I had a call with her earlier today. And she is feeling really good and was at the doctor's. And so we kind of missed each other, but then she called me right back. And we're going to be getting the rest of that check out to her from Team Mighty here tomorrow when I hit the post office. Yeah.
So that was great. Yeah, it was so great meeting her and listening to her story and listening to her share what she's doing, what she's gone through. So yeah. And the fact that she lived down in San Diego, Paige and Josh were just
I know. I said the same thing. I was like, oh, your hair is so curly and cute. And she's like, oh, it's really humid here. I was like, that's your bad hair day? Or seriously? Come on. I know.
Anyways, thank you very much.
Mame is so great. And I love that she and Paige and Josh could connect.
They're going to get together. Go hang out. So yeah, it's really great.
Yeah, she's actually told me she's working on a new NFT project. So when she gets ready to launch that, she's going to come on and feature some of that. So we'll be able to share that with people too. I'm really excited.
Cool.
Yeah,
very cool.
Great stuff. So we jumped back in. I've got my pages and pages of Sympathetic and Bliss written all over this. Those were my 2 words carried forward from chapter 4. Yeah. And it's funny because which I think I know somewhere in here he talked about it. When you focus on he said, what was the thing? I don't feel my tube of light or whatever. And he said, well, you don't feel your ear either until you pay attention to it.
Focus on it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've been focusing on the entropy, bliss, bliss.
Yeah.
Those higher frequencies. And it's funny because I see it everywhere now. Like I'll be at Hobby Lobby and there's Bliss written on a pillow, or it's
you're attracting it to you. You're attracting it.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's great.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It feels like that thing, when you get a new car and then you realize everybody
has the same car as you. Yep.
Yeah, and you never saw it before. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
So interesting. It makes me wonder how much of this world that we are and when we talked about frequencies earlier and all that and how we can only see certain frequencies. We can't see the radio waves, but we can hear them. Right. Like what other things are around us that we just aren't experiencing, but we could if we would tune in,
right. Yep. I mean, honestly, it's everything. I know sometimes I don't like if I'm not paying attention to it, I don't hear the birds that are outside of my house. But then when I do actually like put my attention to it, it's like, my God, they're so loud, you know,
Yeah.
and then they don't stop, and then it's relentless, and then it's like, oh crap, you know, like I gotta like go and listen to some music, take my mind off of listening to these birds yak all the time.
Yeah.
So,
As long as it's not Baby Shark, you know.
Baby Shark.
Yeah. You're welcome, everyone. Now you're gonna have
Oh
Baby
my
Shark
God.
playing in your head all day.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that
Um,
funny how songs just get stuck in your head though too?
oh,
I
there's
always
this one, pay me, pay me my silver now. And every time I see you, I go, hey
yeah.
me. And I sing the song about you, though. I just changed the words.
Yeah. Well, I heard that It's a Small World is actually one of the worst songs that get stuck in people's head.
Oh, I remember that on,
Yeah.
was it Willy Wonka used it too?
Oh, that's pure imagination. No, I'm
Oh,
talking about Disneyland's It's a Small World.
oh, okay.
I'm not gonna sing.
No, I remember it though. Lord. That like took me back to like Havasu City being a child. Like
Oh,
just
really?
hearing that song in my head as you
Mhm.
mentioned that. And
Yeah.
that's what they were talking about. It's so important that when we're doing these, as we're reconditioning our body to a new mind, that you have to have that heightened emotion. And that's one of those examples of that. Like, so I just like PTSD'd myself back to my childhood,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know, in a mostly positive way.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
And that's honestly that's a great segue into the chapter because it's
mm,
reconditioning the body to the new mind.
mhm.
And I found it really interesting just within that first page of chapter 5, the thinking feeling loop.
I have that highlighted as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
powerful.
I know.
Um,
Yeah,
then
I like how he says that thoughts cause biochemical reactions in your brain that release chemical signals, and those chemical signals make the body feel exactly the way you were thinking. Those feelings then cause you to generate more thoughts that make you feel the same way you were just thinking. Yeah,
yes, like the birds got louder and louder and louder
yeah,
for you.
yeah.
Your own self-speak gets
Yep.
louder and louder and louder.
Mhm.
Um, and I've been doing that. I've been having little flashbacks of, if I start feeling frustrated with, uh, anything in my life, if it goes past one thought, I try
Mhm.
to like either release it immediately or turn it into a positive thought, or what
Mhm.
is the positive point of that?
Right.
What is the
And what's the
higher
lesson to be
uh,
learned?
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, because I think all of our feelings are valid and not everything's going to be a positive, moment of bliss. But then what do we do with those when we have those other feelings? And I think that's where you have to stop that repeat cycle in your head
Mhm.
and release it at some point. At some
Yep.
point, you have to. Mitch did a tweet something about that. There's some Bible verse about something like that. Anyway, yeah, strange.
Awesome.
Yeah. I was trying to show on page 116 that
Mhm.
they use the same image, but they talk about the thinking and feeling loop of anger and
Yes.
how that affects us and can block our energy. It gets us stuck in our solar plexus.
Mhm.
And then they use the same graphic for the thinking, feeling loop of guilt,
Mhm.
which
Mhm.
I thought was interesting. So
Mhm.
anger and guilt dump into your body, like you were saying, and gives you that chemical response in our
Mhm.
third center or our solar plexus.
Mhm.
And it can cause adrenal fatigue, digestive problems, kidney issues, or a weakened immune system, not to mention other psychological effects.
Mhm. I like how though he illustrates the only difference between the loop of anger and the loop of guilt is where it lands within your body.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
so
you're right.
so the third one is the anger, and the second one is the guilt because it correlates like with your stomach. like when you feel guilty,
Mm-hmm.
you feel it more in your stomach, but when you're angry, you feel it more in like your lower chest area.
That's true. You do get like an energy built
Yeah.
up, like in your, that you're gonna go run through the wall, whatever, ready to attack. I guess that's where all that, the chemicals are there to help us in that like animal primal brain kind of mode.
Yep, exactly. That's exactly what he mentions in the chapter too. Yep, the emotion becomes stored as energy in the body, stuck in the third center, the solar plex, and that's anger.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, you keep producing the same thoughts that keep signaling the same feelings and continue hardwiring your brain into this very finite pattern. So, yeah, it's I'm going right now. There's a class that I'm taking that Paige went through and graduated.
Yes.
It's called
What's that called again?
the break method.
The break method. Okay.
By her name's Busy Gold. She's the founder. Bizzie, Busy Gold. It's the break method. It's pretty intense, but it parallels a lot of what Joe Dispenza is talking about, especially in this chapter, with the whole thinking, feeling loop.
Mm.
And so it was on page 114. It was the third paragraph down. That whole paragraph kind of sums up part of the break method that's called the source belief pattern. Because we establish a source belief pattern from the repetitive actions and feelings that we get when we're children from
Okay.
sorry about that, from our
No.
parents.
Yeah, because they are truth to us as children. And I'm sure my kids felt the same way about me. Well, my mom said so. That's your whole world is, your parents, and that's the guidance of truth to you. That's
Yeah.
really interesting.
Yeah. So I really, that whole paragraph, I was just like, oh, that's break method, source belief patterns. And then the next paragraph after that, what really kind of stood out for me is that 95% of who we are as adults is so habituated through repetition that the body has been programmed to be the mind, and the body, not the conscious mind, is running the show. Oh,
That's where, yeah, no. You said that right. Because that's just like where we were talking earlier about how to learn, the brain needs, it's not chaos, but, Joshy and Paigey were talking about it this weekend when we were here. The mind needs like new things.
Stimulus.
Yes.
Yeah.
And breaking those patterns and getting out of those loops. I think we don't realize what a way that we are, we're meditating all the time, whether we realize it or not, especially when we do those ritualistic things that we've always done.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it meditating. I think that that's more like autopilot. If, you're doing the same thing every single day, you don't really have to think about it. You're brushing your teeth. You're not sitting there concentrating on like up and down and up. You don't have to keep doing that because it's so automatic, So when you start to become more aware of your thoughts, when, people have, your thoughts are going constantly, and honestly half the time don't even realize it. You don't even realize the thoughts that you're having because it's just been so automatic and so programmed. But it's when you stop and you take a beat and you're like, wait a second, why am I thinking that way? That's when things start happening. That's when things starts changing because you're becoming more aware of your thought. Then you can
Instead of
start
the thought controlling your emotions and chemicals in your body, you kind of step in and and that's where he talks about, he goes back to the breathing exercise that they taught us in either 3 or 4, I can't remember. And he showed like a example of the spine and talked about this fluid in our spinal column and how every time you take a breath in, your plates like your bone structure in your skull is not one solid thing,
Right.
unlike what a lot of people think.
Mhm.
That your tailbone or your sacrum kicks
Mhm.
in when
Yep.
you breathe in and
Mhm.
out when you exhale, and your brain, and then it pushes the spinal fluid up to your brain,
Mhm.
and your pieces of your skull kind of separate when you inhale
Mhm.
and come back together as you exhale. And so
Yeah.
you're pushing all that fluid around your body. And what did he say, that you cycle like
12
every,
hours.
yeah, every 12 hours the fluid
Mhm.
cycles completely. And so
Yeah.
with doing the breathing exercises, you can kind of expedite that experience. And that's part of, having that awakening the mind
Mhm.
body connection.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
it gives us a way to pull the mind out of the body and to move all that stored energy from the
yes.
first 3 centers up the spine to the brain, restoring the electromagnetical field surrounding the body.
Yes.
That's pretty awesome.
I love this. And this is where Uncle Cliff, I think he said next month. So this is next month. Technically, it's
Yeah,
May.
it's May.
Maybe have time this month.
Mhm.
Because as we were getting into this, I was seeing all this magnet stuff. And, he's doing all that research with magnets.
Yep.
I'd love to know what he thinks about some of this with us being the magnet. And then,
Mhm.
and I may be jumping ahead. I get excited about this book. So
I know.
I jump all around. Um, when they were talking about the Taurus field,
Yeah.
and that just like an apple is shaped or a
Mhm.
black hole, that
Mhm.
when we have our energy moving or flowing,
Mhm.
we can be like a black hole too, in a good way.
Right, exactly. We become a magnet, so
Yes.
we attract a lot easier those frequencies that we're looking for to come into our lives. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it's all just, yeah. It's very empowering when you learn this stuff, because
Yeah.
it feels like, oh, I don't have to be a victim of my life, of my mind,
Mhm.
um, of these
Or
thoughts.
even of the world, honestly.
Mhm.
You think about it. I mean, you're free to think for yourself and you're free to heal yourself. You don't need to rely on big pharma to give you another pill to dumb you down, you know? So,
Mhm. That is the truth. And
mhm.
numb you out to
Yeah,
life so that you're
exactly.
missing all this great stuff with these great people. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Um, from there, it talked about, so once we activate this energy and get our energy moving through, it talked about the sympathetic nervous system, which is a subsystem of your autonomic nervous system that arouses the brain and body in response to a threat in your outer environment.
Mhm,
Um, so then it talks about, let's see, the energy begins to move up from the body's lower 3 energy centers to the brain, but instead the body being aroused because of some external condition, you can turn on the sympathetic nervous system by passionately engaging breath from within.
mhm,
As the sympathetic nervous system starts to merge with the parasympathetic nervous system, which is another subset of your autonomic nervous system
mhm,
that relaxes your brain body, such as after a big meal. So you
mhm,
can activate that same feeling of good peace, satisfaction, all of that with this.
mhm.
Have you heard of Wim Hof breathing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's what this made me think of,
Mhm.
because at one point he talks about alkaline or alkalizing your body or something like that. I can't remember. Maybe that was another book I was reading.
It's probably another book. Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
if we've been talking about that in this chapter.
Yeah, I'm trying to find some solutions for canon. So I have
Oh,
like 4 books out, and I'm like reading this one, then I read that, and then I'm like, oh wait, that said that in this one, and can I tie those
mhm.
2 together? Does that make it true? You know.
No,
Um,
that's just great research, honestly. That's really good that you're doing cross research on all these
yeah.
subjects.
Well,
That's
us
great.
mama bears trying to help our
Mhm.
babies.
Yes, we do.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the Wim Hof thing was really interesting. If you guys haven't watched anything about Wim Hof, I think Netflix has a documentary. If not, you can look on YouTube or something. But
Mhm.
they actually did a lot of studies where, because he would get his breathing right, this breathing effect, um, he was able to like go sit in freezing cold water for superhuman amounts of time. They were even injecting bacteria into his body, and
Wow.
his body was able to kill it. Like,
Mhm.
it was wild to watch.
Yeah.
And yeah, they don't want
I've,
us to know we're
I've only
magic.
kind of touched base on him. I know he's the guy who sits. He's like the Iceman.
Yeah.
You know, he sits in the snow for hours on end and doesn't get cold. So, but I think you can actually sign up or make it like do an online class to learn how to do his breathing techniques.
Oh,
So,
cool.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't really looked to see if maybe it's even given away for free on YouTube. So,
I would love that. That
yeah,
would be
he
awesome.
is
Yeah.
an interesting guy. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, the Taurus Field was really cool. I like that one.
Well, and that got into, okay, so then that one got into all this super conscious, that if you can get into the Taurus field,
Mhm,
and then activate your sympathetic and your parasympathetic
mhm.
um, nervous system, then your thalamic gate opens up. And that's where Cannon had when he had a stroke. That's where his damage, his cerebral palsy, all his brain damage is in his
Wow.
thalamus. And so all of this just makes so much sense to me, why he has all the problems with, the migraines in his abdomen. I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I think this breathing could really, really help him.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been trying to get him to do it, but getting a
Mhm.
12-year-old to meditate with you is a little
Didn't
difficult.
breathe. That is true. That is true. Not always easy.
But the first time you get a positive response, it's encouraging enough. Then it encourages you to keep doing it again. Like
Mhm.
writing in my little journal
Yeah.
has helped me feel a little more positive, even on a down day. Like
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, get in there and write one page. Just write one
Exactly.
page,
Mhm.
you know,
Good.
and just to change your whole mindset.
Mhm. Yep. That's what it's about.
Yes.
You're the only one that can do it.
Yes.
The thymus gland is in your chest, yeah.
Well, this is the thalamus in
Oh,
your brain.
oh,
This is different than your thymus. This is not your thymus gland. It's your
thymus.
thalamus.
Okay.
It's like right. Is it below or above the pineal gland? I think
It
it's
looks
above.
yeah, it's above the pituitary,
Mhm.
above the
Reticular
reticular.
formation, whatever that is.
Yeah, so it's more like in the middle of your brain.
Mhm.
It's like above the pineal gland,
Yes.
which is supposed to be like your third eye, which, let's see, what is it? Fluoride's supposed to be like the worst thing
Mhm.
for your pineal gland or
Yeah.
no, people
Do
think
the
of
kids have a link to the water filter
on
thing
the
that you and
yeah, on the Roto-Rooter website, there's up on top there's affiliates, and
yes.
then when you click on that page, it'll open up all the companies that we're affiliated with, and Berkey's kind of towards the middle somewhere. But yeah, there's a great Paige did a really great interview on um, fluoride and what it does to the
Mhm.
system in your brain and everything. So yeah.
I was gonna see affiliates. I'll share this real quick, just because I think, um, so water. We are so much percentage of water. I can't remember, more
Mhm.
than 80% or something
Yeah.
crazy. And so it's so important that you're drinking healthy water and that you're,
Mhm.
trying to use as much healthy water as you can. The Grow Network, that's with the kids. I
Mhm.
know that they did a great interview with them too.
Yeah.
Purple
Yeah.
Power, of course, vitamin D lamp. That's good to know for the winter.
Mhm.
I didn't know about that one. That's a new one
Mhm.
for me. The Road to Root storefront. You get good stuff there. And there it is, Berkey Filters. Okay, so here's a link that you guys can check out. So you can go to roadtoruta.com and click on affiliates, and you'll find all of these great resources.
Yeah. Of course, Miles Franklin.
Yes, and of course Andy at
favorite
Miles Franklin.
silver and gold dealer.
Yes, for sure. Gosh,
Yeah.
I'm hearing so much all around that. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, we're talking about the book, but it's just incredible. Like as the banks are failing, like people are like, how do you buy silver?
Yeah.
How do you buy
Oh, yeah,
gold?
that's
How do
the
you
most
get out of this?
common email asked on support right now is, how do I buy it? And I'm just like, go back and listen to Vix's videos. You know, it's
Yeah.
got it all there.
Info at
Yeah.
milesfranklin.com.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Tell them Lisa or Vic sent you.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, crazy.
Yeah. A lot of, and also just a little more on that is we're getting a lot of emails about people saying that their local silver shop is dry. And that's, and it's not just in the US. People like from Australia, Germany, they all write in and say,
Wow.
we can't find any. Yeah. So
Wow.
I know it's crazy.
That is crazy. Well, I sent Bix a text this morning because I just like to annoy him sometimes because I'm the annoying little sister that he never wanted. But he said, I said, a friend of mine had sent me a thing because the U.S. Mint came out with a new Abraham Lincoln coin that's supposed to come out. Is it August? I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, maybe it's the end of June 25th. I can't remember what the date was. I'll find it and look it up again. But it had like this crazy premium on it. And then I said, well, even look at these like normal, but it says uncirculated and it's got a mint stamp on it. And so he said that was the difference of why it was so much higher than like a bulk silver eagle, because it was like they were wanting $80 for it or something. And I was like, is this the new amount? Is this where we are?
Yeah, exactly. It will be.
Yeah.
You know, according to Mix Weird, Road to Ruta.
That's right.
That's where it's headed. So
yeah, that's wild.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Within the next few weeks, I would guess it's gonna pop pretty soon.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I love it. It's gonna be more breathing excited.
I know.
About
really, really. Exactly. We should yeah, I'll look around YouTube and see if I can find something on the Wim Hof stuff, and I'll post it on the Telegram.
And our book discussion. Okay.
Yeah,
the Telegram. Yeah. So that information's in the link in this description of this video. If you guys want to join us in the Telegram group, and we can talk about all that stuff and share resources with each other. Amy and Paige have shared multiple resources, whether it was a link to an audiobook or some of the meditation that you found, Amy, that you posted in there. So those are all great resources. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys can join us there. So next week we're going to do, you said it's best to do 6 and 7 together, correct?
Yeah. Chapter 6 is just case studies. And it's, it's always, great to listen to other people's stories of successful, manifestations and healing of the body and stuff like that. It's really encouraging. And then chapter 7 is I just got through that one too. That one's really cool because it shows more charts and things about being in heart coherence, and being like heart-centered, and just taking 5-10 minutes a day, out of your day, maybe 4 times a day, just to bring yourself into your heart. But that's chapter 7. We can talk about that.
Okay. We'll talk about it next week. I'm excited though. These really just encourage me so much, these talks that we get to have and share this information with the community. I feel like it's a way that we can help people during, what's kind of a dark and scary time to focus on something positive.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that's super important. That's exactly what the book is about.
Yeah.
About, stay positive.
Stay positive. You're in control. of your breath, your life, and your inner black hole. Keep your energy moving. I don't know.
Yes, keep it flowing.
Yeah, keep it flowing. Join us in the Telegram for more great information, and join me on Patreon to be able to send me a message directly. And it's a great way for you to help me support the channel and the work that I do here as well. So love to you all. We'll see you guys next week here on The New Normal. Bye.